Hi, and welcome to our third and final video where we are introducing 3 tools that you can use in child welfare for supporting your clients and making the difficult changes that they are wanting and needing to make. My name is Steve, and I'm with the Center for Practice Transformation, along with in collaboration with the Center for Advanced Studies in Child Welfare. In our first video, we focused on evoking character strengths of clients using character strengths cards. And our second tool was the Today tool. And this tool is called the Change-O-Meter. I can imagine that much of your work is supporting your clients in making very difficult changes that they need to make. And I once heard one of my teachers say that the only thing more difficult than starting something new is letting go of something old. And many of our clients, especially in child welfare, have developed patterns that have become entrenched and may be very, very difficult to change. So this particular tool that we are going to be teaching you about today is called the Change-O-Meter. And this is what it looks like if you don't have one sitting in front of you. This is a tool that helps us to have conversations and take deeper the change that a client is wanting and likely needing to make. Think of this as similar to when you're at the doctor's office and the nurse practitioner pulls out a card that has a level of pain between 0 and 10. To evoke from you, where is your pain at? This is very similar, called scaling questions. And this is a chance for us to explore our clients' wants and needs for making various changes, particularly to understand how important is this change for this client to make. So how do we use this tool? Well, when the subject of change comes up, this is a way for us to explore areas of motivation. When I think of motivation, I think of 3 areas. One is the importance of something. Secondly, how level of confidence that I have that I can actually make this change. And finally, how ready am I to make this change? So let me just use an example about how to use this card. As you can see, there's a scale here from 0 to 10 with a little meter that can be adjusted on the card to identify a particular number that a person is at. So if a client were to say to you something like, I really need to make sure that my kids get to school. And when you hear something like that, you can pull out your Change-O-Meter and hand it to the client and just simply ask, how important is it for you to make sure that your kids get to school on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being it's not important at all, and 10 being it's extremely important? What number would you put yourself at? Let the client simply guide this little red marker over to the number that they are at. And let's say that they put it at an 8 and hand it to you. So, well, I'm about an 8. Then what we would do is we'd ask the question, well, my goodness, that's an 8. That's pretty important to you. Tell me a little bit about why is it an 8 and not 6 or 7. And of course, then a client will tell us the reasons for why it's important for their kids to go to school. And we know from motivational interviewing language that what they are then telling us, we call this change talk. These are the reasons why someone needs to change. This is the need to change or the ability to change or the desire to see this change. And we know from research that when someone states their own reasons for change, they are more likely to actually make change. So then we can just find out from them why they're at an 8. And they might say, well, it's just so important because if they don't go to school, they could get kicked out of school, or they might flunk out, and I want them to do well in life, which allows us to explore that a bit further. From there, we might be able to say, well, what would it take for you to be at a 9 or a 10? And then maybe they'd say, well, the school administrator or principal or teacher might call me and tell me that I better get them to school, or I could get in trouble, or some other reason. And so we might find out some of the things that might happen. that could lead to them having even more reasons for why they want to change. Now, you can also ask several questions, and on the back side are several related questions about how confident are you that you can actually do this. So let me actually go that with this client. If you were to ask the client then, how confident are you that you actually can get your kids to school? They might say, well, I'm only down about a 2. And we can say, well, you have some confidence, and tell me, why are you a 2 and not a 0? And then they might give a story or a reason for perhaps at a time when they were able to get them to school. So we're evoking their abilities to be able to actually get their kids to school, and they are stating them themselves. And so you can use this meter in the same way for a variety of questions, including how ready are you to take this step? How difficult do you think this might be? And a variety of other questions that you can ask as well. So that's the scaling question, or what we call a change-o-meter. Now, when introducing this to a client, you might simply say, this is a tool that I can use so I can understand you better, and I can understand what your reasons are for changing and how your level of motivation, and just so I can understand you better. It's a great way to introduce it. Well, I want to thank you for listening for this particular tool that you can use. Previous tools are the character strengths cards and the Today tool that you can also utilize with your clients. So from all of us here at CASCW and CPT, we wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.